Hello everyone, Dylan here. Today I'm going to be going over the Shopify POS Go. It's a mobile payment solution and point of sale software with Shopify's point of sale built into it. So I'm going to be going over that in three parts because I didn't find there was a whole lot of information regarding this product, and I thought this would be a really good way to spread the word. So the first part, we're going to be going over a brief overview of what it is as a product in general. The second part, I'm going to be doing an unboxing, going through the hardware, and the third part, I'm going to be giving a review over all the different functionality and performance of the device. So to start off, the POS Go is a portable payment and point of sales device, like I mentioned. It is branded with Shopify, and this version specifically has Shopify packaging, etc. But from what I've been able to gather, it's actually a white label device from a company called POS, which is owned by Stripe, which, as far as I'm aware, is the primary payments provider for Shopify payments. So it makes a lot of sense to have that partnership together. The specs for the basic device, that is an Android 5-inch display, 1280 by 720, 3700 milliamp hour battery at 3.7 volts. It is advertised as a cost-effective solution for small merchants. Has a replaceable battery, supports Wi-Fi, and apparently can do over 800 plus EMV transactions on one full charge. So that's the basic spec sheet of the device. Normally comes loaded with Android that's customized for a specific use case. In this case, it's going to be flashed with a version of Android that will only launch Shopify POS. So let's go ahead and get into that. Beforehand, I'm also going to mention that it came with a free sticker sheet and little sign card. So that was an option at checkout. There's also an option to get a case, which you can either purchase as a bundle, which I don't think has a discount, or the case separately. I didn't opt to do that, but that's something you definitely can do. So we're done with the overview. Let's get into the second part, which is the unboxing. So I've actually never seen this done before, so this will be interesting. So we got a basic cardboard box with a little infographic on how the cards work. The device itself, which is a little bulky, but nothing too crazy. And a USB cable, which is a right angle USB-C, or I guess that's what you'd call it, right angle. It's an angle cable to be sure. That's pretty much it. There's not really much else to this box. It's very basic and straightforward. So I'm okay with that. Realistically, the less wasted packaging, the better. It seems like it's a very recyclable and renewable box, so kudos for that. The only waste that I really see is this plastic wrap, but that's there to protect the screen. So I did see one other review of this device. It actually seems like this is a slightly different model because this one does not appear to have the removable battery, and that's why the battery wasn't included in the packaging. Now I'm not sure if that just means that it's already in there and they added screws, but it is slightly different model than what's advertised as the white label solution. So maybe they had it customized, or maybe this is just a newer version and they're going to be updating the POS website to reflect that. Hard to say. So it also has a screen protector installed on it by default. By the looks of it, it does. I'm not really sure why the paper wrap then, because the screen protector should be really doing that work. No need to have both, but hey, at least the screen is more protected. So in terms of what you actually get, you have a card reader with swipe. You've got a barcode scanner. It does appear to have a front-facing camera, but that might just be a microphone or something else that I can see. And then you have a chip reader on the bottom. Other than that, pretty straightforward. Does it come pre-charged or powered? It does. So you get a Shopify boot logo when you turn it on. Pretty crisp, but that just might be because it's such a small logo. We'll see what the display looks like when it's completely powered on. They didn't even include anything other than rubber band, which isn't most waste. It's better than plastic in my opinion. So far, I'm pretty happy with the packaging of the device. So it takes a quick minute to turn on. It looks like we can just go through and connect to Wi-Fi, choose our country, all that fun stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and connect to the Wi-Fi here. Which does just appear to be a basic Android Wi-Fi setup. So once you're on, configures the POS and connects to download updates. And then I'm guessing it's rebooting to apply that update. It actually looks like it just rebooted the app, which is nice because then you had to go through the whole boot sequence again. So it seems like updates are pretty streamlined on this device. Although I guess I could change it to do an operating system update, but it definitely does seem like it's just a reskinned version of Android that specifically only launches the Shopify POS app, which is very in line with what the other implementations of this device are from other manufacturers, like Lightspeed, for example. They all just say it's their own WisePad E, but again, this is a slightly different model, but it seems like the exact same premise. Definitely is taking a hot minute here to apply the updates, so I'm going to go ahead and do a cut. We'll go straight to my impressions of the device and some quick overview of the features, but that's it for the unboxing portion. Okay, so we've had some time to play around with it here at the store, so we're just going to go over some basic things with the device now that we have the chance to go over everything. So first off, lock screen is pretty straightforward. One thing that is to note is it's actually going to be the PIN code that you use to log into Shopify. So whatever you have set up on Shopify POS, I'm gonna go ahead and enter mine. And once you do that, you're unlocked to your screen here. So this is for anyone who's unfamiliar with Shopify POS. Very customizable. You can create tiles, and those tiles can be an action you want to take place in the POS, an app that you have installed on Shopify that works with the POS, collection you have already configured in Shopify, discounts, fees, links to a web page which would open up in a browser, or a product. So we have a couple set up already in our store. For example, we have drinks, if people want to buy things from the fridge at the front. We got gift cards, some of our weekly events, and a collection of our newly stocked products. So that's just some things you can have there. The barcode scanner is right here. So when you click that, you activate it. You can scan a barcode pretty straightforward and reliably. Once you do so, it just shows up directly on the screen there, and you can add it to your cart. So we'll just do that again on camera. Comes right up immediately. So if you click that button, it'll actually open up the cart and shows you what's there, and you can edit it, clear the cart, scan new things, etc. Now it goes in without you needing to edit quantity, but you can edit the quantity as much as you want. Sorry about the focus there. Because the actual important thing is that you scanned it. You can scan different things, they'll show up. Basically, the cart is this little pop-up, and you can edit anything that you see in the cart after the fact. It also works on gift cards, so this is just a dummy code for 1 cent gift card, but if we go ahead and scan that, it'll actually show us the balance. So that is 1 cent, which is correct. Now something I think people are kind of curious about is how you can configure payments. So let's go ahead and say we're going to go ahead and check out here. So the only one that's going to be in here by default is credit and debit, and cash and gift card and manual entry. Those are the default options. We manually added trade-in for when people trade in items for store credit, and we want to use that immediately without making a gift card. Square Reader as a backup payment, so we have Square Readers as backup as well. And this one is also built in, but it's just another function. It's called split payment, and that's how you can, let's say they want to do 50 cents in cash and 50 cents in store credit. Well, you can type 50 cents and click on what you want them to pay it, and it'll split that into that many payment options, which is nice. So the only integrated payment is credit and debit, which when you click that, it'll actually just pop up this screen here, and they can tap directly on that logo and it will accept payment. Now, this might be slightly different in the American model. This is the Canadian one, but just so you're aware of how that functions. And if I were to cancel that, it'll say, okay, I've canceled it. For gift card, all I got to do is scan the code, and it'll automatically enter it. You can obviously enter the code manually yourself. If the gift card doesn't take up the full if the gift card doesn't fill up the whole balance, like if, let's say, for example, the gift card is only 1 cent and there's actually another $1 left, it would allow me to then add any other payment automatically. It'll automatically split it. So whether it's another gift card or adding in some cash, etc., it'll actually take care of that for you automatically on gift cards. So for the manual entries that I entered there, all this does is mark it paid in Shopify. And the reason I mention that is because you can also do that manually. Sorry, I shouldn't say that's the only thing. It also marks it as manually paid by this payment method. So if I click mark unpaid, it's going to create an unpaid order in my Shopify admin. That's also very useful. Let's say if someone's shopping in store and they want something specifically, like let's say this pack of sleeves, and they don't want it to be sold online, you can mark it as unpaid, and then when they come back up later, you can just go back in, and actually I can show you how that looks in a second. Just I'm gonna mark it as unpaid here on screen. So then that goes through, gives me the offer to email them a receipt, anything like that. If I were to go into my orders, which I just gotta make sure I'm not giving away any personal information here. So I'll open up this order here. You'll see it actually says that it's unpaid and give me an option to collect payment. So this is really cool. If you have unpaid options or unpaid payments, like let's say you take a pay later option or something like that on your website and someone comes to pick it up locally, you can actually collect the payment through this card reader here, which is, I think, a really cool feature, and I use that a lot. So that was just more information on that. In terms of connectivity, oh, sorry, I'm going off tangent here. The difference between doing that and like saying paid by Square is that you're marking it as paid manually, which is something you can do either in the admin or on the POS device here. And what doing that does is just says it's paid. It doesn't actually collect a payment. You have to do that yourself, just like if you pay cash, you'd have to collect the cash. So if I do something from the Square reader, it doesn't automatically fire up the Square reader or anything like that. I've got to do it all manually. So just to clear that up, because I know some people were asking about that. So in terms of devices you can connect to the machine, you actually have Bluetooth, but at the moment, I don't think it actually supports any Bluetooth devices, so I just have it disabled. The only thing you can connect is a receipt printer. So as you see, it says not available, but even if I toggle, oh, focus is a little hard with all the reflectiveness. I'm gonna try and dial that in there. Any second, there we go. So oh my goodness, there we go. So it says Bluetooth whenever it's in focus, not available. Even if the Bluetooth is turned on, that option isn't there. I'm not sure if they can add that in an update in the future. But right now you only have the option of a Wi-Fi printer or an Ethernet printer. You actually do not get the option to connect anything else, whether it's Shopify branded or not. Again, they can change this in the future, but right now this device only supports the built-in card reader and a Bluetooth or Ethernet receipt printer. Now that said, it does have the built-in barcode reader as well, but you can't connect, let's say you had a Bluetooth barcode reader from Shopify, you wouldn't be able to connect that. You wouldn't be able to connect a Bluetooth printer at the moment, although again, they could add that any minute if they wanted to. You can't connect a mobile display, which I know is something else that I use in my store that they wouldn't allow you to do. So essentially, the way we use this device is one, if our main till is occupied, this gives us the option of connecting a second employee up, or like let's say they have a second cart they want to have going without saving the other one as unpaid, they can open this up and use it as a second till. If we want to use barcode scanning, and that till doesn't have a barcode scanner, that's really nice too. It only works with the Shopify POS app. I think I mentioned that earlier. So you can't use it for things like inventory or things like that, even though it'd be useful. It's basically just an extra till that's portable. So if you wanted to bring it to, let's say, a convention, something like that, that would also be a really good use case and something we're going to use this for. But essentially, in terms of adding things onto it, it's a little bit limited. One thing I did discover is using this USB port here, you can actually connect, let me go grab a dongle to show you. You can actually plug in a USB hub like this into the USB-C port, and then you can use any peripherals that are compatible with Android on there, obviously within reason, because it still needs to work with the POS app out of the box. But essentially, you can actually connect USB devices, for example, a USB keyboard, or if you have a wireless Bluetooth dongle for a Bluetooth keyboard or mouse, you can actually use that with the POS, even though it's not officially supported, because that's something supported by the base Android layer. So that's really cool. If you wanted to use a keyboard and mouse or something simple like that with this device, it wouldn't, for example, allow you to use a printer or anything like that unless it's already supported. So for example, this was an Ethernet dongle, you could plug in an Ethernet printer and use that because that's supported in the software. So your mileage may vary. You can obviously play around with it. I would definitely recommend trying anything out physically on the device before you commit to using it on your floor plan, because obviously it's pretty awkward when you, let's say, buy a printer that doesn't work with it and then you're just kind of stuck. But anyway, I think it's a pretty handy device. We're definitely going to be keeping it, although it's a little bit more limited than I would have liked, and I hope that they open that up in a software update. In terms of speed, haven't noticed any issues with speed. Every time you restart it, it will check for a software update, and then if there is any, it'll apply and let you go in. But it is very much a basic Android device with all the functionality locked down to the Shopify POS app. It charges pretty quickly, can't really complain about that. The barcode scanner has really good scannability, and like we pointed out, supports both regular barcodes as well as QR codes. And it has really good range in addition to that. The card reader does occasionally have an error that we see where it says cards can't be used, but all that we had to do to fix that is reboot the machine and then it works fine. So it's very possible just because it hasn't checked for an update. Because that's another thing that card readers that are separate have to do, is they have to connect to the network and do firmware updates to make sure they have the most up-to-date card information, so they'll actually keep working with the payment providers. In this case, the machine handles that as part of its regular software update, so you don't need to worry about that. If you have any questions about the machine or about Shopify POS in general, feel free to drop them down in the comments, and I will do my very best to answer them. And thanks very much for watching. Hopefully I've answered all the questions that you had.